Where are Elmer, Herman, Bert, Tom, and Charlie? The weak of will, the strong of arm, the clown, the boozer, the fighter.
All are sleeping on the hill.
One passed in a fever. One was burned in a mine. One was killed in a brawl. One died in jail. One fell from a bridge, toiling for children and wife.
All are sleeping on the hill.
Where are Ella, Kate, Mag, Lizzie, and Edith? The tender heart, the simple soul, the loud, the proud, the happy one?
All are sleeping on the hill.
One died in shameful childbirth, one of a thwarted love, one at the hands of a brute in a brothel, one of a broken pride in the search for heart's desire. One after life in faraway London and Paris was brought to her little space by Ella and Kate and Mag.
All are sleeping on the hill.
Where are Uncle Isaac and Aunt Emily, and old Tony Kincaid and Savini Houghton, and Major Walker, who talked with venerable men of the Revolution?
All are sleeping on the hill.
They brought them dead sons from the war, and daughters whom life had crushed, and their children fatherless, crying.
All are sleeping on the hill. Where is old Fiddler Jones, who played with life all his 90 years, braving the sleet with bared breast, drinking, rioting, thinking neither of wife nor kin, nor gold, nor love, nor heaven. Lo, he babbles of the fish fries of long ago, of the horse races of long ago at Clary's Grove, of what Abe Lincoln said one time at Springfield, and all
are sleeping on the hill.
I was Willie Metcalf. They called me Dr. Myers because they said I looked like him, and he was my father, according to Jack McGuire. I live in the livery stable, sleep side by side by Robert Bauman's bulldog. I crawl into a stall between the hooves of the wildest horses without getting kicked, so we know each other. April days, I tramped through the woods to get that feeling that I sometimes lost. Like I was not a separate thing from the earth. I used to lose myself as if in sleep, my eyes half open. Sometimes I talk to animals, even snakes and toads, anything that's got an eye to look into. I once saw a rock in the sun trying to turn into jelly. April days in this cemetery, dead people will gather around me and become still, like a congregation in silent prayer. I never knew if I was part of the earth with a flower growing in me, if I walked. Now I know.
I could have been as great as George Eliot, but for an untoward fate. For look at the photograph of me made by Pennewitt, chin resting in hand, and deep-set eyes. Gray, too, and far-searching. But there was the old problem. Should it be celibacy, matrimony, or unchastity? Then John Slack, the rich druggist, wooed me, luring me with the promise of leisure for my novel. And I married him, giving birth to 8 children, and had no time to write. It was all over for me anyway, when I ran the needle in my hand while washing the baby's things, and died from lockjaw. An ironical death. Hear me, ambitious souls. Sex is the curse of life.
Not a youth with a hoary head and haggard eye, but an old man with smooth skin and black hair. I had the face of a boy as long as I can remember, and for years a soul that was stiff and bent, and the world would saw me just as a jest, to be held familiarly when it chose, and loaded up as a man when it chose, being neither man nor boy. In truth, it was soul as well as body which never matured. And I say to you that the much sought-after prize of eternal youth is just arrested growth. Oh.
In life, I was a town drunkard. When I died, the priest denied me burial in holy ground, the which redounded in my good fortune, for the Protestants bought this lot and buried my body here, close to the grave of banker Nicholas and his wife Priscilla. Take note, ye prudent and pious souls, of cross currents in life which bring honor to dead, who have lived in shame.
I was the milliner, talked about, lied about, mother of Dora, whose strange disappearance was charged to her rearing. My eye, quick to beauty, saw much besides ribbons and buckles and feathers and leghorns and felts to set off a sweet face or dark hair or gold. One thing I will tell you, and one thing I will ask. The stealers of husbands wear powders and trinkets and fashionable hats. Wives, wear them yourselves. Hats may cause divorces. They may also prevent them. Well then, if all the children born in Spoon River had been reared by the county somewhere on a farm, and the fathers and mothers had been given their freedom to live and enjoy, change mates if they wished, do you think that Spoon River would have been any the worse?
I know that he told that I snared his soul with a snare which bled him to death. And all the men loved him, and most of the women pitied him. But suppose you are really a lady, and have delicate taste, and loathe the smell of whiskey and onions, and the rhythm of Wordsworth's ode runs in your ears, while he goes about from morning till night repeating bits of that common thing. Oh, why should the spirit of mortal be proud? And then, suppose you are a woman well endowed, and the only man with whom the law and morality permit you to have the marital relation is the very man that fills you with disgust every time you think of it, while you think of it, every time you see him. That's why I drove him away from home to live with his dog in a dingy room back of his office.
Well, Emily Sparks, your prayers were not wasted. Your love was not all in vain. I owe whatever I was in life to your hope that would not give me up, to your love that saw me still as good. Dear Emily Sparks, let me tell you the story. I passed the effect of my father and mother. The milliner's daughter made me trouble, and out I went in the world, where I passed through every peril known of wine and women and joy of life. One night, in a room in the Rue de Rivoli, I was drinking wine with a black-eyed coquette, and the tears swam into my eyes. She thought they were amorous tears and smiled for thought of her conquest over me. But my soul was 3,000 miles away, in the days when you taught me in Spoon River. And just because you no more could love me, nor pray for me, nor write me letters, the eternal silence of you spoke instead. And the black-eyed coquette took the tears for hers, as well as the deceiving kisses I gave her. Somehow from that hour I had a new vision, dear Emily Sparks.
Not character, not fortitude, not patience were mine, the which the village thought I had in bearing with my wife, preaching on, doing the work God chose for me. I loathed her as a termagant, as a wanton. I knew of her infidelities, every one. But even so, if I divorced the woman, I must forsake the ministry. Therefore, to do God's work and watch it crop, I bore with her, and I lied to myself, and I lied to Spoon River. I tried lecturing. I ran for the legislature. I canvassed for books with just one thought. If I could make money thus, I would divorce her.
The secret of the stars. Gravitation. The secret of the earth. Layers of rock. The secret of the soil. To receive seed. The secret of the seed. The germ. The secret of man. The sower, the secret of woman, the soil. My secret is hidden under a mound that you shall never find.
My name used to be in the papers daily as having dined somewhere, or traveled somewhere, or rented a house in Paris where I entertained the nobility. I was forever eating or traveling. Now I am here to do honor to Spoon River, here beside the family from which I sprang. No one cares now where I dined, or lived, or whom I entertained, or how often I took the cure at Baden-Baden.
When my mustache curled and my hair was black, I wore tight trousers, I was an excellent knave of hearts and took many a trick. But when the gray hair began to appear, lo, a new generation of girls laughed at me, not fearing me. I had no more exciting adventures wherein I was almost shot for a heartless devil, only drabby affairs, warmed over affairs of other days and other men. And time went on till I came to live at Meyer's restaurant, partaking of short orders, a gray, untidy, toothless, discarded rural Don Juan. There is a mighty shade here who sings of one named Beatrice. And I see now the force that made him great drove me to the dregs of life. After I got religion and steadied down, they gave me a job in the canning works. And every morning I had to fill the tanks in the yard with gasoline that fed the blow fires in the shed to heat the soldering irons. And I mounted a rickety ladder to do it, carrying buckets full of the stuff. And one morning as I stood there pouring, the air grew still and seemed to heave, and I shot up as a tank exploded. And down I came with both legs broken, my eyes as crisp as a couple of eggs, for someone let the blow fire going, and something sucked the flame into the tank. The circuit judge said whoever did it was a fellow servant of mine, so Old Road's son didn't have to pay. And I sat on the witness stand as blind as Jack the Fiddler, saying over and over, I didn't even know him at all.
Henry got me with child, knowing that I could not bring forth life without losing my own. In my youth, therefore, I entered the portals of dust. Traveler, it is believed in the village where I lived that my husband loved me with a husband's love. But I proclaim from the dust that he slew me to gratify his hatred.
I went to the dances at Chanderville and played snap out at Winchester. One time we changed partners, driving home in the moonlight of middle June. And then I found Davis. We were married and lived together for 70 years, enjoying, working, raising the 12 children, 8 of whom we lost ere I had reached the age of 60. I spun, I wove, I kept the house, I nursed the sick, I made the garden, and for holidays rambled through the fields where sang the larks, and by Spoon River, gathering many a shell and many a flower and medicinal weed, shouting to the wooded hills and singing to the green valleys. At 96, I had lived enough. That is all, and passed to a sweet repose. What is this I hear of sorrow and weariness, anger, discontent, and drooping hopes? Degenerate sons and daughters, life is too strong for you. It takes life to love life.